everyone, and welcome to BookTrib's 15 Minutes with, a Merrill Moss Media production. Today we are super thrilled to welcome novelist and romance author Teri Wilson. Teri has written a number of books for Harlequin and Harlequin love-inspired series, including The Alaskan Sanctuary, Sleigh Bell Sweethearts, Unmasking Juliet, and her super popular Unleashing Mr. Darcy, which was actually turned into a Hallmark Original Movie last January, and she's also written many others. She has 2 new series coming up in 2017, one that just came out for her special edition for Harlequin, which is called the Drake Diamond series, and it's titled His Ballerina Bride, which we'll be talking about shortly. And then also in a couple of months, the Royals series, super excited to talk to you about. That's out in March, so we're very happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
For sure. So let's jump right off and start talking about His Ballerina Bride. What can you kind of tell us about the story and the characters that we're meeting?
Okay, well, His Ballerina Bride is the first book in my brand new series for Harlequin Special Edition. The series is called Drake Diamonds. It's set at a very posh, fancy, family-owned jewelry store on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. So if you're thinking Breakfast at Tiffany, you're on the right track. And the first book in the series is His Ballerina Bride. It just came out. And the heroine is a former ballerina who's had to quit dancing because of a health issue. I don't want to give away too many spoilers.
Of course.
But now she works at the jewelry store because she has a family history kind of tied to Drake Diamonds. And the hero is the CEO, Artem Drake. He's kind of the black sheep of the family playboy. And the patriarch, who's been the head of Drake Diamonds, has just passed away. And everyone's really surprised that Artem has been, in the will, he was named the CEO to carry on the business. And he doesn't want to do it. No one wants him to do it. But, of course, then he meets Ophelia the day that he goes to resign, and things change. So I'm really excited about the series. It was super fun to write because it's very glamorous. I'm a huge ballet fan, and so I was really excited to write a ballerina character. But in addition to that, it also has kind of an emotional depth that a lot of my books before haven't had. I was really challenging myself to really bring the feels with this one. So I'm really proud of it. I'm really excited for people to read it because it's a little bit different than some of my other books.
Yeah, absolutely. And it, as you were saying, it is a new series, and I think it's your first release for special edition for Harlequin. Is that right?
It is, yes. I'm new to special edition. We have the 3 Drake Diamonds books coming out this year, and I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm doing it. So here we go. I have another new series coming out with them in 2018 called Wild Hearts. That's also set in New York City.
Oh, wonderful!
So I'll have at least 7 books coming out with them because the first series has 3 and the second series has 4, and they've been great to work with. I love special edition. So all of their books kind of have a single title-like feel to them. So it's been really fun to work with them. They've been really nice to me and basically have just been letting me write whatever I want to write. So it's been fun.
Oh, I love that. Now, how is it kind of different? You said it's kind of a single book series feel or single book feel. How is it different to write? Was it different to write for you? Did you find that you kind of approached it any differently than some of your other novels?
No, the reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of the Harlequin categories, the readers expect certain things. And so there are more kind of guidelines or rules. And I just haven't found that to be the case with special edition. Maybe I'm just accidentally writing what I'm supposed to be writing. But I haven't gotten in any trouble yet with them. So
okay, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Always a plus when you're not in trouble as an author.
Right.
So you said this is 3 books. You've got this one that's out right now. When can we see the next couple coming out?
Okay, I have 6 books coming out next year, so I'm going to try really hard not to get them all mixed up. Drake Diamonds book 2 is called The Princess Problem, and I'm super excited about that because I've always wanted to write a royal story. I have a bunch of those coming out this year.
Yes, you do.
Book 2 in special edition is called The Princess Problem, and it comes out in April.
Okay, perfect.
It's an April book, and then the third one comes out 3 months after that, so it will be July.
Okay.
And it's called It Started with a Diamond.
Ooh.
And it has a polo player hero, which was really fun to research because randomly one of my writer friends' brother is a professional polo player. So he took me to a polo game so he could like give me the scoop on everything that happened, and we had a really good time.
Oh,
So
fancy.
they've all been, they're all just these really crazy, glamorous books that were super, really fun to write and research. So
I love that. That's so fun. I want to talk a little bit about your Alaskan series. Is that wrapped up? Is there more to that series? Or I think it's in the love-inspired Harlequin.
right, it's with Love Inspired. It's quite different from the special edition books. The special edition books are definitely saucy. The Love Inspired books are really, really sweet, and I just want to throw that out there. So in case either one of those is not, the thing that someone wants to read, they'll know. No, it's not. It's not wrapped up, but honestly, it didn't even start as a series. I just wrote one book for them called Alaskan Hearts, and then they wanted another one and another one and another one. So there are 5 total. I definitely would write another one. It just kind of depends upon what's going on and, the timing and that kind of a thing. So it's just been kind of a series that has just kind of evolved, which is great. It's fun in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways, I would not recommend that to a writer. If you're going to write a series, you might want to plan it from the very beginning. Right. But it's all kind of, it's kind of worked out. And it was a fun series to write. And I started writing the Alaska books because I volunteered at the Iditarod Trail dog sled race in Alaska. Oh, cool. So that is what inspired those books.
Oh, interesting. Well, that was my next question. Now, what about the reading of them? Are they, since they weren't planned as a series, can they be read each separately out of order, or do you recommend reading them in the order that they were released?
You could read them in any order, really. I mean, and the same thing with the special edition books, the Drake Diamonds books. Of course, I want you to read them in order because the first one came out. But, of course. Any of them you can read out of order because they each have their own couple and their own love story. So it's not a continuing thing. Yeah. But, I mean, you're going to kind of hear that so-and-so got together, before. But, I mean, they're romances. So we all know that they're going to have happy endings anyway.
Absolutely. So let's dish a little on Unleashing Mr. Darcy because I absolutely loved that movie. That was out last year, and of course Ryan Pavey played the male lead, and he's just adorable. But can you talk kind of about the process of having your book turned into a TV movie? Were you involved? Were there things that surprised you? What was everything?
Everything surprised me because I mean, we all writers dream of their books becoming a movie, but it hardly ever happens. So the whole thing was a surprise. I do have another book, or actually 2 more movies in pre-production with Hallmark Channel right now. So I don't know any information about when they'll be coming out, but we do have a couple of more things, and one of them is one of the Alaska books, actually, Sleigh Bell Sweethearts.
Ooh,
so
it's
a Christmas book. And even when it happened, I was totally surprised because the book had been out for a while. The book came out in December of 2013, and it all happened very fast. So I guess it would have been, the movie came out a year ago. So the April prior to that, one day I was just at home and my agent called me and she was like, well, I have some interesting news. I have a really good relationship with my agent. We're really good friends. And so she's always trying to trick me when she calls. She acts like she has really bad news. And I think, I'm about to get dropped by all my publishers, but she was like, I have some interesting news. And she said, your book's been optioned for film by the Hallmark Channel. And I was like, is this a joke? I mean, I had no idea at all. She's really good. She shields me from stuff that's going on. And so that way I won't obsess on, if it's going to happen or if it's not going to happen. So I had no idea at all. And so she told me in April that it had been optioned and that it was going straight to a screenwriter or, someone to write the screenplay. And then after that, we would find out if it was really going to go in production. But I guess Hallmark doesn't option a whole lot of movies that don't go into production. So we were really hopeful, but I still wasn't totally sure until she called me in October and said the script had been approved. She called me in October. The script had been approved and that it was going to be airing in January and that it was going to be wrapped for filming by the end of November. And I'm like, can they even do that? I had no idea that stuff happened that quickly. So
I'll tell you what, that Hallmark Channel just pops them out. They are. I know,
and they did such a good job too. I mean, I started worrying. I was like, "Can you make a movie that fast?" But I don't know anything about show business, so I didn't then. So I didn't know that TV movies usually work on that kind of a 3-week filming cycle. Me either. So I was just thinking when you read People and you hear that Tom Cruise worked on some movie for 2 years, but that's not normal for television. Yes, so it was great. And at the beginning, of course, I had no idea how involved I would be at all. I really only had 3 concerns. These were my three big concerns. My number one concern was I wanted to be there on set, at least for a day or two, because,
Absolutely.
who knew this was ever going to happen? So I wanted to see it. I wanted to be on set. I completely obsessed over who they were going to get to play Mr. Darcy, because obviously that's, an iconic role in film and, TV. So to me, it was really important that they got that right, which they totally did. I'm sure we're going to talk about that later.
Yeah.
And then the third, this is silly. After the casting of Mr. Darcy, I was mostly worried about the casting of the dogs.
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, the dogs in the book were based on my own dogs. I mean, Bliss is my dog and Finn is my dog. And so they're Cavalier King Charles Spaniels. And I just was really hoping that they wouldn't change the breed. I was like, what if they're bulldogs or something? And I love bulldogs. Bulldogs are great. But in my mind, they were these fluffy, cute little Cavaliers. And so I was hoping that they would still look like my dogs. And they did. And I didn't even know that they had gotten Cavaliers until I saw one of the actresses post about it on social media. And I was so excited. And now I know the people who own the dogs that were in it, and it was great. So.
And were you asked those things, though? Like, do you have, like, a 1-2 list? We can't obviously honor them all, maybe, but we want to try and hit your top list of things that you'd really like to stay in the book.
Okay, absolutely not. No. I mean, and I say that in the nicest way because I have a really, really good relationship with my producer, Sidel Albert, and the director of the film was David Winning, and I have a great relationship with everyone who worked on the film. But in the very beginning, I didn't know anybody, and so when you sign the contract, they've bought the rights to your story, and your story is no longer your story. So they're going to do with it what they will. But everyone who worked on the movie was fabulous, and I have zero complaints. It was wonderful. But, I didn't know I was even going to get to go on set for a few weeks later because Sidel, the producer, told me that usually it's up to the director, and she needed to run it by him first. And, of course, I said I will not say a peep. Y'all will never know I'm there. I was like, I'll be so quiet. I won't say a word. And so, I was really good. And so even when I got there, when they told me I was coming, I was kind of scared to even say anything, but everyone was so nice. They made me a director's chair with my name on it. It was, awesome. It was great. So, yeah, but no, you're not super involved. In fact, if you've seen the movie, it's set in the United States. Right. The book is set in England. In the book, Mr. Darcy is British. In the film, he's American. And I didn't even know. That's really actually the only big difference between the book and the movie. And
that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, it's what? I'm used to it now. But when I got there on set, I didn't know. And of course, I had been told that Ryan Paevey was playing Mr. Darcy, and I had done a thorough YouTube surveillance in the efforts of being professional. Right. So I was thrilled to have him. But when I first got there, they were in the middle of a scene, and I had the headphones on, and I was listening, and I was thinking to myself, he's so charming, but his British accent, kind of
is like non-existent.
And then I was looking around because we were filming the scenes where they were at Mr. Darcy's mansion where they have the ball. Mm-hmm. It was before the ball. It was right when everyone first got there. Okay. And so we're outside at the giant mansion, and I'm looking around, and they had all these cars parked out front for the party. I mean, there was like a Lamborghini and a BMW and all these fancy cars. And I'm looking at the cars, and I'm realizing that all the license plates said New York on them, and we were in Canada because that's where filming takes place. Right. And so that's when I realized that perhaps there had been a setting change.
Yes, just maybe.
I said something. I was just like, is this set in America now?
And of course, you mentioned Ryan Paevey. For those who don't know, probably most would know him from General Hospital. But you knew about him after casting? You were aware when he was being casted, or?
I knew that casting was happening, and like I said, I didn't really know the producer and stuff then. Right. Like I said, we have a great relationship now, but that was in the very beginning. So I just knew that casting was happening, and I didn't want to be a pest. I didn't want to keep emailing and say, who are we considering, blah, blah, blah. I was waiting to hear. So she called me to make arrangements for me to come to set. And while I was talking on the phone with her, I asked because I could not help it. That was the one thing I was just like, okay, I have to ask, has Mr. Darcy been cast yet? And she said, yes, he has. And I said, oh my God, would you please just tell me who it is? And she said, no, I won't. And I said, really? And she said, I don't want to tell you because I want you to be surprised. I want you to be surprised. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. And she said, he's actually about to come to my room now to be fitted for his tux, because they were already in Canada, you know. So, you know, he gets there and I can hear him in the background. You know, he has a beautiful, beautiful voice. It's one of Ryan's best qualities. And I was like, okay, whoever that is going to be perfect. I said, please sit down, just tell me. And so she did. She said, well, you probably won't recognize his name unless you're a soap fan. And she told him, she told me his name, and I tried to act super cool about it, even though I was Googling him while I was still on the phone with her. And then we hung up and, you know, spent the rest of the night watching YouTube clips from General Hospital.
Of course. Yeah. That's amazing. Well, it was certainly a success. I thought it was one of my favorites last year, and anyone who follows the Hallmark Channel religiously, guilty, knows that, you know, they pump them out, but I really, really enjoyed that one last year. So what about The Art of Us? Let's talk about that for a couple of minutes. It came out last March, but it's not a Harlequin novel, I'm pretty sure.
It is not.
Okay.
It's with Thule Publishing,
Okay.
which is a smaller press that was started by several Harlequin authors who I'm friends with.
Oh, okay.
One of them being Jane Porter, who has written a lot of books for Harlequin Presents, and she's also written some single title books for Berkeley.
Okay.
And I think of Jane as a mentor, and I just really wanted to work with Jane. So I really wanted to write something for Thule because I like her so much. So that is actually one of the books that's been optioned and is in pre-production right now with Hallmark.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of inspired the story for you that you wrote?
It is, well, much like Unleashing Mr. Darcy is a modern day contemporary version of Pride and Prejudice, The Art of Us is a modern day Pygmalion / My Fair Lady story.
Okay.
And, but it has a gender reversal. So the professor is not Henry Higgins, it's Dr. Harper Higgins. And she's an art history professor. And she is trying to pass her dog walker, who of course is a hunky, you know, ex-soldier. She's trying to pass him off as an artist when in fact he's her dog walker. So that's what that book is about. It's really, really fun.
Exciting. And we will keep an eye out for that one also. All right. Lastly, I really want to talk about your upcoming series, The Royals, because we're just all obsessed with royalty, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
But coming this year, you mentioned you have Royally Roma, which is coming out in March, and then Royally Romanov in July. What can you tell us about this series?
Okay, this is my first series with Pocket Books. I've never written for them before, but this is my first series with them. It's with Pocket Star, which are all ebook originals. So people will be able to read them on their Kindles and their Nooks and all those kind of things.
Wonderful.
The first book, and they're retellings of classic movies, because I'm a huge movie fan, which is one of the reasons I was so excited about Mr. Darcy. But Royally Roma is a retelling of the Audrey Hepburn movie, Roman Holiday.
Oh.
And it has a gender reversal. The runaway royal is not a princess, but it's a prince.
Okay.
And the heroine is an American tour guide in Rome. She's a PhD student, and she's a tour guide. And she meets the prince in the lobby of a hotel, and she thinks he's her client, and she's taking him for a tour. And he's just gotten some bad news about his younger brother. It's always the younger royal that causes all the scandals.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, he gets some bad news that his younger brother has caused a problem, and so he just kind of wants to get away for a while. And so he says, yeah, I'm your client, you know, and so he intends to just disappear with her for the day or for half a day and go on a tour of Rome just to get away from his responsibilities. But then at the end of the tour, she presents him with the bill, and he can't pay it because he doesn't have any money because he's a prince. So she kidnaps him. And that is kind of what happens, you know, in that book. And, you know, chaos ensues. And romance. So it's a really fun story.
Oh,
and then the second book of that series is called Royally Romanov, and I'm super excited about that. It's a retelling of Anastasia. A modern day version, though.
Okay.
So it's been really interesting to write.
Yeah,
and it also kind of has a gender reversal. The royal in that book is the man again. He's a descendant of Anastasia.
Okay.
Or maybe he is. You know, that's kind of the question of the book. So it's been really fun. I'm really excited about that because the Anastasia musical is coming to Broadway next year.
I'm so excited for that.
So it's really kind of some fun timing. Yeah. I've always loved that story. I mean, who doesn't love the whole Romanov story? It's so romantic. So
absolutely. Yeah. So I have to ask, because it's called The Royals, do you watch The Royals? Which is
oh my God, I'm a huge fan of The Royals.
Okay, I was hoping you would say that.
Yes. Okay, I haven't seen the most recent one though. I mean, the one that just came on Sunday night.
Oh,
I'm
neither
going to
have
watch.
I.
Yeah, so I'm just one episode behind, so no
Oh,
spoilers.
I don't
But
think my DVR recorded that. I'm gonna have to figure that out.
and I saw it, but I think I mentioned before we started filming, I'm going out of town tomorrow for
Yeah.
10 days, so I've been kind of running around like a nut trying to finish things and get ready.
Absolutely.
But I'm definitely going to be watching it on my iPad on the.
Yeah, I'm super
Yeah.
excited, but I love where this season is going, and I'm really enjoying it this season. Not that I haven't the past ones, but this one, yeah, I'm really enjoying. So I'm glad to hear that. Well, thank you so, so much. It has been wonderful talking to you, Teri, and I want to remind everyone that his Ballerina Bride is on sale now, and you can go grab it from Harlequin. And we look forward to the next books you have coming out and Hallmark movies, which are exciting. And thank you so, so much for talking with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, and enjoy your travels. And
Thanks.
hopefully we get to talk again soon.
Great. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.